Fancy. Hi, guys.
Peace, what's going on? I'm JYD.
And I'm G.
You checking out the Poor Life Podcast.
Hosted by none other than
Nuance. Tonight we have a very special guest in the building. Special guest, poet, teacher,
philanthropist.
That was a good one.
You know,
lucky everybody.
international hair braider.
Lucky everybody.
He gets on the side.
Yes.
So, look, how's everything going, man? You know?
Man, to be honest, right? When the school year ended, I was like, whoo, I can take a break.
Okay.
I can chill because the school year is over. And then right after that, the performance picked up. So it's like I have to leave.
It was like, psych!
Right, psych. You get off one thing, now you got to pick up the other thing, kind of thing. So yeah, I've been really good lately. I've been chilling.
That's good.
I've been in my space.
That's super groovy, man. Like I commend both of you.
Okay.
You know, as educators.
Because it is a
because that thing, that life right there. If you're an educator,
yes. We appreciate you
because I know I gave my teachers the business
at all ages. You do it the whole way through school, and you don't realize how much you put your teachers through until you go and you get on the other side of that desk, and you're like, man, I was horrible.
I tried it too. I'm like, no,
not at all.
Like, I will put a kid in the headlock. How do y'all stay safe?
They definitely try you, bro.
They do try you, and what it is with me specifically, like in my classroom, when kids get like a little out of hand, I'll sit and I'll watch them. And then they'll realize they'll realize like I'm not playing, and then they'll all sit down. I'll be like, okay, and now I can teach because you guys are ready. Or I'll say, don't worry, I'll wait. Clearly your conversation is more important than what we have to do today, and that's fine. I'll listen. Your ideas are important. I care.
For those who don't know, you say you teach. What exactly do you teach? Where do you teach?
So I teach elementary school kids how to effectively express themselves through words. I am a poetry teacher at 4 elementary schools in DC. We got this summer camp coming up at E.O. Haynes. I'm so excited about it. But that's in a nutshell what I do. I reaffirm kids and let them know that their ideas are important, that I do care about what they have to say, and that whatever they write down on paper is the greatest thing I've ever heard, because it is. Like, coming up with ideas and being able to make them rhyme and things like that. Like, we don't think of it as that big of a deal because it's something we do all the time, but being a kid and being able to come up with those things is not only hard, but it's magical to watch.
All right. So in the day where social media and technology has overtaken the power of pencil and paper, because you know, when we was growing up, you had like the drawing paper and like you had to do the cursive and then the line and all that stuff. Do you feel like it's a struggle to like have kids to really write and really, you know, kind of express themselves on paper, to really just sit there? Like, how does that feel to just watch the youth just sit there with pen and paper, not a phone
or an iPad
where there's like autocorrect and, you know, we use it all the time, but it's just like the fact that, you know, those minds are churning. I think that would be something very interesting.
What it is because we teach kindergarten to 3rd and 4th grade right now. So we're definitely trying to get past that. So if your school's looking for past 3rd and 4th grade, we're here for that. Shout out Pole Life Academy and Christoph. So what it is in the age of technology is getting kids to know letter sounds, right? How to spell words and how to read those words once they've written them down. Because you can teach a kid how to spell something, but if they can't read it in their handwriting, it doesn't make any sense type stuff. So there's a huge disconnect there Then once you get them past like learning how to spell and like formulating sentences, it's amazing. Yeah. There's like a little boy in my class, his name's Christopher, and he writes all his letters and his poems in bubble letter. And he draws picture. Like he'll write like 6, 7, 8 lines of a poem, but all the letters are a picture the whole way through. It's literally amazing. It's literally an amazing thing to see that even though we do live in this like technology and like we're so advanced and we know so many things, we're privy to so much information, like to know that kids still have an imagination or that kids can still think out of the box versus, you know what I'm saying, only what they see on TV and what they see on their iPads and kids' YouTube and stuff like that.
What's that done for you? Being able to teach them, how has that affected you?
Man, it has challenged me. My patience that I thought I had. Okay. The patience I thought I had in the classroom, because before I started teaching in elementary schools, funny story, I worked in daycares. I was like a 2-year-old teacher and a 3-year-old teacher, and I loved it. It was literally amazing. Yeah. And I had so much patience with those children. I never got like angry or anything like that. I would never blow my top. And then when I got to elementary school kids and I realized like they're a little older, but they still need that same kind of care and attention and that same kind of one-on-one and things like that. So it's challenged me to become more patient, more empathetic, and then as a writer, it has challenged the way I look at poetry. Right. Like the way that you explain, like how would you tell a 5-year-old what poetry is other than saying it's rhyming words? Like how would you be able to tell a 5-year-old what it is that you do and how to put it on paper? You know what I mean? So it's challenged me as a writer. I've written a lot because of the teaching I do and stuff like that. So I appreciate that space.
Okay, that's cool. So the next question I want to ask you is this. You say you're trying to teach them, condense everything to a 5-year-old.
Yes.
Now, what has that been like? Like, explain to me, give an example of that, because I'm thinking like, let's say my niece, she's 2 right now. She's 3 years looking at you like, Uncle Jog, what's poetry? Or, you know, what do? You go over there and talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, how would I explain that to her?
Right. Like, how would you tell a 5-year-old? Because even though when you're in the 3rd grade, you're like 8 or 9, and then 4th grade, you're a little older, the way that you explain things still has to be very small. Like, you cannot use a lot of words to explain things to children because their attention span is very short and they're not going to be able to take all that information in anyway. Gotcha. So I will be like, I'm a poet. And that basically means I have a fancy way of putting together words to tell you how I feel. Okay. Right? Yeah. So let's say, for instance, I'm really happy, right? I'll put a lot of words in my poem that are happy, like yellow, the sun. I'll talk about flowers or running through the fields or something like that. It just simply means I have a fancy way of putting together words. Sometimes it rhymes, sometimes it tells a story, sometimes it's just a bunch of words put together. But either way, you know what I'm saying, your art is your art and things like that, and whatever you put down on your paper is a poem if you say it's a poem.
And the kids feel empowered.
And the kids feel like, well, I could put anything on my paper. And I'm like, exactly, because you can. These are your ideas. You can literally write down cat, bat, sat, fat, and that's a poem. These are your words, and you figured that out by yourself. I didn't give you those words.
Yeah, I go over there and say it.
And then on top of that, you have to get up in front of your friends and feel confident in that and say that out loud. So that kind of weeds out the troublemakers. That weeds out the ones that's playing.
I gotta do a time up right there. Because you know how us as poets, when we first started out, you know, speaking in front of crowds is not the easiest thing. So, like, when you said that, and children, you know, like,
getting up in front of your class,
you know, because you got the joker, you got the people that's, you know, just looking at you, just mean,
somebody that want to roll around on the floor,
you know, distractions are everywhere, and it's like nobody is paying attention.
But you got to get up there,
and I think that platform is beautiful for children because it lets them, you know, kind of navigate their gateway into the character that they become. As like, you know, adolescents, things of that nature, because it's like, okay, I don't know what to say. And, you know,
and they never know what to say. And what's crazy is I give them, we'll have like a word. One of our words was freedom, right? And we had talked about like what it means to be free. And they gave me all of their ideas and stuff like that. So then we wrote down what makes us feel free, like personally type stuff. And then right before we share, I always set the stage. I say, this right here is officially the stage. When someone comes up on the stage, your eyes are on them. Your mouths are closed and your ears are open because you care about what they have to say. This is your friend. You want to hear what he or she has to say, and you want them to listen to you, so listen to them. I set the stage that way every time, so that way they know this is a sacred space, and we're all paying attention to the person who came up here, because like you said, us as poets, even now, getting up in front of people, it's not the easiest thing to do, so we would want people to be respectful to us. So I put that like same space in my classroom when I encourage them to get up and share in front of their friends, not to mention the kid that has to take their turn and stuff like that. At first it was very hard to get kids to share, and then towards like as the class go on, they will be like, can I go first, I'm ready to share, I wrote it down and I can't wait, I need to tell you what's on my paper type stuff. So it's just like, I don't want children to be afraid of what they think, and I don't want for them to feel like no one will listen or no one's paying attention to them and stuff like that. So that space for them to be confident and get up in front of their friends is very, very important.
We had an episode not so long ago, right after Pure Poetry 60th anniversary. And talking about what Karika Bailey said, when the question of the day she asked was anything about the culture, not necessarily every place, but for the most part what we have seen so far. This year was audiences distracted by phones and worrying about something else, and not saying that's not everywhere you go, but we've seen it more.
It's a lot.
So preparing the children now, it's kind of like pushing the culture forward, because when they get older,
they'll start like, telling their friends that that's how they need to
respect
behave.
the space when they get there.
Yeah.
So it changed the entire scene of an open mic or a showcase or whatever. People have a greater respect for poetry.
Yeah.
And starting them young.
Yes, and I believe that, because it's just like,
that's real.
It's so real, because it's just like, as adults and how we're so in our phone when we go out anyway type stuff. So when we go to events where we're supposed to be paying attention to a show and we're supposed to be paying respect to the people who are on that stage and sharing pieces of themselves, we're not doing those things. We're not in that space. We're not being present and stuff like that. So I always want the kids that I teach to know, like, even if you don't agree, even if this isn't something you would talk about, your friend is up here and your friend wants you to listen to them, and it would behoove you to do so, because when you get up here, you want them to listen to you.
Hey, the word of the night, ladies and gentlemen.
B-E-H-O-O.
Like, it would be easy to follow the Poor Life podcast.
It would. It really would. That is a great idea. I would appreciate it if y'all did that. Follow me on all social media, Cash App, Twitter, Instagram, Lucky's Place. Okay? LUKISPLAC.
I like that. Pounded.
This is the Poor Life podcast, y'all. For those just checking in, we have Lucky in the building.
Yeah.
Talking about the Poor Life Academy that she is a teacher of. She has 4 or 5 different elementary schools, correct?
Yes. Is it 5 or is it 4?
Oh, we're at 7 now.
7.
Yeah, come on, 7 schools.
Children.
7
about poetry. How to write, how to speak, how to respect the craft and the art.
Yes.
And it's doing a lot, man. From the videos I've seen the children getting up.
And the thing is the stuff that I do, I've got so much more to share and to show you guys. Like, I've got tons of videos of them like reciting their poetry, or like from our recital. And we put on recitals for the schools too, because it's like, not only do I want you to feel like comfortable with your peers, but what if you wanted to do this the way I do it? Now you have to do it in front of like more people, and these people are still your peers because you go to school with them. So it's way easier to do it that way than it is to just like wait until you become an adult and try to, you know what I'm saying, jump out there. Everybody.
I feel that.
Yeah, that's a lot harder to do.
That's a great way to start this off, man. Topic of the night, right? We're talking about, and I think we all agree it's a pretty broad topic, but I think we have a person here that can get down to the specificity.
I'm ready.
Yes, topic.
Come on, words tonight.
So the topic is a woman's impact on poetry and why it is relevant.
Let us get down to it.
Let's go ahead and get into it. Now, Lucky, you are a phenomenal poet yourself.
Yes, Lord.
In addition to being a teacher, you are also a phenomenal poet, right? So, I want to ask you a question about that. Now we can just open it up right now, and then you get as deep as you want to.
All right. What
is the relevance of women's perspective today in poetry?
Man, cause look, right? If we're just speaking, cause I'm a black woman, so just speaking from a black woman's perspective, we just as much as we need to hear what you guys have to say, y'all have to hear it from us. In order for us, meaning black men and black women, to get anywhere through this art, we've got to hear it from both sides.
Okay.
We have to.
Okay.
There's no way you can say that we understand each other if we're not willing to listen to one another.
Yeah.
There's no way we can continue this story if it's pieces of it missing, type stuff. So it's like, y'all need us. We have a lot to say.
Yeah, definitely. Okay.
But we need y'all in that same respect, because
I like that.
you guys have a lot to say.
I like that.
Word.
Go ahead. I see. You ready?
The cause
like-
is turning.
Because some of my most favorite and cherished poets who inspired me to write are women.
Mm,
You know, my Angelo, Jill Scott.
that's a dope.
You know, just to name two.
Right.
Just to name two. But did you ever feel as though that your voice,
Wouldn't be
Was-
as powerful?
not necessarily as powerful, but was treated as, you know, how our nation treats, you know, the woman in the working world?
Kinda,
know?
yeah. Because I looked, first of all, when I started doing poetry 2 years ago, it was through Orville. So
Okay.
viewing poetry through Orville's eyes, it was a man's world. He doesn't know a lot of great female poets, but he does. He does. He knows a lot of great female poets, but seeing the scene from his point of view, I met Just Me. I met Kariga. I met Just Mike. I met a lot of really great like men. So I just viewed it as a man's world. But I also know Rebecca Dupas and Mariah Ivy and Bria McCormick and Nia June.
Yeah.
And it's so many also great female poets. But like I said, getting started, I viewed it as a man's world. So I viewed women in poetry as not a force to be reckoned with, because I didn't know a lot of us when I started.
Okay.
Got you. Okay.
So it was just like, how can I, since I don't know that many of us anyway, how can I put my little, you know what I'm saying, female perspective in this man's world and add to it? You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what it was for me.
So do you feel like a lot of the strength, because you know there's strength in numbers, but
Yes.
the perspective of what you're saying is like it's a man's world when it comes to poetry. Do you feel like the powerful women in poetry are hiding in plain sight? Like
Yes. Yes. Because there's so many of us,
Right.
but there's so few of us at the same time.
I got you.
It's like there's so many great female poets. There's so many great women in poetry, and I don't feel like it's not because we don't feel powerful or we don't have the voice or any of that. Because even women who aren't here, like Coco Flo, or like I'm trying to remember names right now, and it's just escaping me. But like, there's so many women, and they're literally everywhere, and I don't know why. It doesn't seem like there's so many of us, but it is. That's what I want to know. I want to understand, like, why does it still seem to me, even after 2 years, like it's a man's world? And I know all of these great women.
Speaking of 2 years, story time.
Story time!
Lucky,
Yes.
madam.
Here we go.
This
You got some people want to check you out. Look,
right.
information out
The
there.
story of meeting Lucky
Crazy.
was very, very, very interesting.
It was crazy.
Us and Lucky, her and us, and how do you say that?
She and I.
She and I, she and we, whatever you want to call that, were featured, dual features at an event,
Okay.
right? And Jay couldn't make it, so he says, "Hey, G, still go because we was just getting started as nuance, blah blah blah." I'm like, "Okay, cool, wonderful."
It'll be awesome.
And I get to the venue, and I bump shoulders with a young lady
Absolutely.
I'm clumsy. Probably didn't tie my shoes at the time.
Definitely wasn't walking in the street like
And then the first thing she says, "Oh, it's okay, love." And I'm like, she at that time her dress was a little shorter.
Yes.
2
2 years ago, they
a
was
little shorter 2 years ago. You know, and she's over there like I see her sitting in her seat and just going through her groove, you know, what she about to say, how she's about to start.
I'd be mad in my space.
You know, and just in the zone. Never mind that we were at a venue.
A whole like bar. It's like people getting painted. It's all this stuff going on.
One of those
and I'm just in the
that
corner.
will raise an eyebrow.
I'm just in the corner in my space.
And she I didn't expect you know how you just don't know. I did not expect this warrior of a poet to just come out of nowhere and go and just go.
That's me on it.
What's crazy is I haven't done those 4 poems.
In 2 years?
2 years. 2 years. 2 years.
Yeah,
I went back and watched some of the videos, and I was like, I might have to dust this one off.
Right.
Yeah. You ever do that before?
Yeah.
Go back to your phone, see an old joint, be like, you know, I'm about to bring that back.
And it wasn't even just like a phone. Sometimes it's like my notebook.
Yeah. I'm about to bring that one back.
Right, hold on. Or like something that wasn't finished.
Oh yeah, like, you got something new?
Yes, I do that all the time. I'll go back through my notebook and be like, I didn't finish this. This is a great idea.
Right. But
like
meeting Lucky kind of started this. I'll rephrase it. Meeting Lucky kind of started and created this trail mix of a dope concoction of poet friends that we have now. Because our network became their network and their network became ours, and just even how we met and how we just gelled together, and you can kind of see the chemistry in our whole crew. Like it's not like we're a crew, but we're like a family that was just like predetermined. Like, oh, y'all gonna meet. Like
we
I was
cousins.
Just like,
that's what it is. We cousins in another life.
The time we hit Baltimore was that last December.
Oh my goodness,
man. That was a groovy time.
And they drove it out. Yeah.
That was a groovy time.
Amazing.
You know,
that was amazing.
Everybody did their thing.
Yeah, we cousins. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
But thank you, man, because that I think I never told you this, but that day helped me rediscover the importance of what poetry to me means. Because you never see people, and I didn't know that you had just like started, or you was just like
that was like the second time I performed.
You know what I mean?
This literal second.
You wouldn't have known it though.
Literal second.
You wouldn't have known it, and that's why like the space that you're in and like the level that you're at, like I don't even know what level you're at because it's just
neither do I.
It's just it's galactical.
What's crazy is when people say that they've like seen me in certain spaces, because I'm a very true to that moment kind of person.
Yeah.
So whatever space you see me in, whatever day you see me, that's like you got real lucky every time type stuff. And it's true to that moment. It can't be recreated type stuff. Like it just was specifically for that. So when I had put 2 and 2 together that was you that night, I was like, wow. And then to see you from then till now, it's just like you're going anywhere, like everywhere. It's crazy. It's really crazy.
So, question for the table.
Go ahead.
I'm ready.
What would you right now? And I feel like we asked each other this question before.
Okay.
What would you right now tell Lucky or J. Rod D that was just starting out right back then?
What would I tell?
That first day when you decided I'm gonna be a poet.
Get over yourself.
Get
over
like
yourself. There, first of all, there's no reason for you to be afraid.
Right.
First of all, there's no reason for you to be afraid. These are your words and you believe in them. You've been through this. So all you're doing is just telling somebody that you've been through this.
Yeah, I think I'll probably say make it to the studio, because it was one night in particular I wish I would have went to the studio and recorded a song with an artist right now who was making major waves. You know, I had opportunity, and I kind of let it slip in my hands because I was trying to figure out, okay, I need a gas, I have a job, I need to get there, I ain't want to ask somebody. All that just like, hey, you got like a dub, I can get to the I got it. But I didn't, so it'll probably be like, hey man, humble yourself. It's a lot of opportunities, just humble yourself. What about you, man?
mine, if I could tell my younger self that, just don't compare.
That's real.
That is facts.
Like I listened to an artist. He's a gospel artist actually. He has a song called "Comparison Kills."
Mm-hmm.
He's just saying like, hey, focus on your own grass. You know.
That's facts.
All that jazz, because it's real. How would you expect to strengthen yourself comparing what you're doing to others who may not have the same story as you?
Or who definitely don't have the same stories as you, because it's just like and then back to how we're so like technology advanced and all that stuff.
Yeah, man.
We pay so much attention to what everybody is doing because we're privy to all of this information. Yeah. So it's just like, it's first of all very hard not to compare, because it's just like, well, I'm the same age as you and you're moving in this way and that's not happening for me type stuff. But it's just like everybody's on their own journey. Everybody's literally driving the same road but in their own lane.
Some people probably showing the highlights too. It might not even be showing.
Right.
Okay. Oh, and I be telling people that too. I'm like, they're literally just showing you what they want you to see, because you don't know what it took them to get to that one particular picture.
Or it was even like a Bow situation. They showing, the vacation, but they really.
But that ain't really what it is.
You went with your family on. That was a family cruise.
Like y'all went together. You didn't even think. Like, and then the thing is it's okay to do that. Like, why do people feel like it's not okay to say, me, my mother, my father, grandmother, aunts, uncles, cousins, we all put in money so we could do this together? Like, why is it not okay to do that? Why we gotta be stunting and balling for everybody to, like, why?
You know what I just found out?
What was that?
David Banner went to Eastern Shore.
Now you hype.
And you know what he said? He said stunting is a habit.
Now you hype.
Now you
So I'm saying a philosopher from Eastern Shore.
A philosopher from
I was a wise astute philosopher and poet. He said stunting is a habit.
Cause you see his head getting bigger. Like
I never knew that, man. I never knew that.
Yo, that's what he goes say everybody.
You know
That's
really funny.
Where did the inspiration come from? Because from what he told me the story how y'all met, you said you were just starting off.
Yes.
So you just starting off, and then now you have shows like crazy. It seems like I look on IG, it's always Lucky's place is over here. Lucky's place is doing it. So it's like two sides. When you start getting books, but first of all, where's inspiration come from?
So here's the thing that I feel like I never tell people. My grandmother has a published book of poetry.
Okay.
Word.
Like, got a box full of her books, but she only did it so she can say she published her poetry, right? So I go and I read it, and I'm like, maybe in like the 7th or the 8th grade, right? Now, before in elementary school, I met Maya Angelou. I was in the 1st grade. Got to read one of her poems in front of her. I was 6 and was not able. I was not able to fangirl because I was 6.
Yeah.
Man, when I grew up and realized, I said, whoa, God.
Yeah.
Whoa, God. I wasn't ready then. I was not ready.
1st grade.
Was not ready. I was in the 1st grade and I got to read like 2 stanzas from Still I Rise, and she was there. And I don't remember what it was. It was like a school field trip and my grades were really good and I got to do it.
Remember what she said to you?
No, she didn't say anything to me directly. We all sat but I do remember what she said to me. She said, your dreams are seeds.
Ooh.
Right? She said, your dreams are seeds. And as long as you water the right seeds, the right dreams will grow. That's right? And I said, now that I like remember this, I'm like, oh my God, girl. Right?
Like, right seeds.
Long as you water the right seeds, the right dreams will grow.
We're going to put that on the shirt.
So that moment inspired you?
So that
was the spark of this?
That was like the spark into like poetry. So I would read words, like read poetry for school plays and stuff like that. When I was in middle school, I would like write little 4-line poems to boys and stuff like that. But it was like on some little slick stuff.
Yeah, I got you.
Then my grandmother published her book. And I was like, Grandma, you're so good at this. You could be selling these books. Like, what are you doing right now? Like, what are you doing?
It was on the family.
And she was like, I mean, you know, I really like to write, and we would write together sometimes, and I would like sit and tell her my ideas and stuff like that, and she would tell me to like not stop writing because eventually talking was going to get hard for me, and it did. Not gonna lie, probably like a year after that, life did get a little hard. Like 11th and 12th grade were a little bit much for me, like emotionally, so I did have to write everything down. I did have to like talk to my journal for hours on end, or like I don't know what would have happened type stuff. So it's just like she for real is the reason I write, because she had, like I said, sat and said to me, you're gonna need this pen and paper because things are gonna get a little difficult. And so like since then, that's just, it's been what it's been. And then I got in this horrible relationship and I stopped
writing.
I couldn't find anything to write about. And then I got out of it. And for the last 2 years, I just, you know what I'm saying, been on it.
That's the same time you started performing?
I've been on it.
So once you got out of the relationship,
I got out that relationship. I took a couple months. Got my stuff together, came back March 2016, and I've been on it since then.
That's what's up. So when you start making these moves, you
getting booked.
Now,
you know, when you start getting booked, you know,
booked up.
Booked up.
Man, that was a good one. I want to use that one.
Yeah, man.
But as far as like getting booked, it's just been like sporadic. Like I remember October 2016, I was performing like very, very often, and then it like faded off. And then 2017, like last year for real, is when it like kicked off. Because my very first performance last year was in Baltimore, and it was at the 2K18 open mic. Shout out to Icon the God. What it do, bro?
Yeah.
What? But and Chase, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for having me in that space. I still get approached about that particular open mic because coming into was it 2017 or was it 2018?
What you mean?
I don't know.
Well, you said you did say 2K18 open mic.
I did. So it was 2018. January of this year, for real, is when I feel like my booking is starting to get like consistent.
Yeah, that's real. That's
like,
what's up.
Cause last year I was still like setting a lot of groundwork. I was working at that daycare. I was trying to like figure a lot of things out. I moved to Baltimore. Like it was a lot of stuff going on last year. But like when 2018 started and I did that 2K18 open mic with Icon and Chase, like from that point to this point, it's just literally been one thing after the other. And then now we're getting like more schools and stuff like that. So having to find the balance and everything, like, it's been consistent since this year.
The beauty.
I got one last question, G.
Okay.
And then you could take over. And then, next question. So when you do your poetry, how do you know, like, your poetry affects people around you?
How do I know?
Because you're talking about the woman's perspective, right?
Yes.
And now you think, well, now you're seeing that it's not a male-dominated culture. It's very like diverse. It's also very like the woman's presence is felt. In poetry.
It definitely is. And it's like whenever a woman signs up, and then like, you know Tilo? You know when Tilo gets up and she gets mad calm, and then the crowd get calm with her, and we just be right there. Like whenever a woman gets on the mic, like you know it. Like shout out, babe, we love you. Like you know it. Like you feel it when a woman gets on the mic. But for me specifically, I remember when I first started doing poetry, I would speak a lot about the domestic violence relationship I was in, and I would do that poem very often. And I would meet a lot of women that were in that situation or coming out of that situation. I would get DMs from women and stuff like that. And at first, that was how I knew that it was reaching people. When women would say, I just got out of this and I didn't think I would make it, but your poetry has helped me. Or like, I'm in this and didn't think I could get out of it, but you made me feel like I can end this and I'll be okay type stuff after. And then moving into like the transition of myself and my art, for this year, I'm more of like a motivational speaker for girls now. And I teach and stuff like that. So now it's like, whenever I know, it'll be like I talk to little girls very often. Like I'll text them and I'll check on them and be like, have you been writing lately? Or how was school? Or how's your mom? And stuff like that. Like I go see them and stuff like that. So it's more of like when people's kids come back to me and say certain things like, Miss Lucky, this thing that you said to me really helped me get through something. Or or really like got me over something. Mm-hmm. Like there is a little boy I was teaching and his parents were going through a divorce. Yeah. And I think like both his parents had already like moved on with 2 new people. So he has 2 totally different families that he has to see literally every day and come to school. So it was just like, now I know it's effective in other ways. You know what I mean? Like now it's through the faces of children. And it's like, or young girls at middle schools and high schools and stuff like that. So it's like, babes, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
So like with you being in that education role, right? And you being an artist,
right?
And knowing how art makes you feel, whether it be music or like paintings or anything, can you see the poet in that child, in the children, like right off the back, or is it something that's just like, it's like molded like clay, you know?
It depends on, because you know how we have preferences for artists. You know how we like a certain kind of rapper, a certain kind of singer. When you're an educator, you have to know that all children are blank slates. And you have to understand that whatever you put in them and they give to you, like back to you, is going to be in their own way kind of thing. So it's like, I do see some of them and I'll be like, I've seen someone perform just like you. And if you keep on it, you know what I'm saying, you could grow and be your own version of whatever you want to be type stuff. And then there are other children where I'm like, I really love when you put your ideas together. Maybe we could find ways for you to have like a certain kind of swag when you get on stage so you won't feel as nervous or you won't forget things as easily, or maybe we can find other ways for you to feel more confident about the things that you say. So sometimes it's innate for certain kids to just get up there and do it, and it happens
automatic.
It just happens. Whereas for other kids, not that you have to coax them into it, but you do have to encourage them or find other ways so they feel just as good about their ideas, because their ideas are just as good.
Do you find yourself utilizing the feedback that you were given in the classroom with the children?
Very often. Like, take your time, enunciate, try to look up from your paper every so often, although you have to read from it. Like, there's so many rules we were taught as kids that we looked over or didn't pay any attention to, that I have to find myself repeating in classrooms and stuff like that, because it does help. It definitely helps. And then not only do I say it to them, I'll explain it. Like, I bring my journal to class every day and I'll write with them whenever we're writing something, and I'll get up and read with them type stuff. Like, I'll take turns, like I'll sit in the audience and all that stuff while we're teaching. Like, I'm real, like, I'm in it.
So as artists and as poets and all that jazz, we get the feedback at the end of the show or after we just got done doing a piece. Like, there are always gentlemen that come up to us like, oh man, I really appreciate this, that, and the third, and they're also women. But like, how is the feedback for you when you finish doing a piece that particularly deals with the female perspective?
Right.
Have you ever had like a brother come up to you saying like, I never knew type situations, or thank you just for just opening my eyes type deals? Because people go through these real life situations, and then to prevent, I feel like poetry is very educational, and it's a platform to just really put many things out in the open.
Many conversations can be started because of someone's poem.
So for you, like, have you ever experienced like a brother just come up to you and say like, I sensed myself in what you were saying, whether it been through like whatever situation that you mentioned in your piece, and he's just like, yo, thank you. And it gave him that revelation. Have you ever? Like
when the day that we met each other, there's like a poem I do where I'm basically like, just because he's up on the mic telling you what it's gonna be like doesn't mean you're the only woman in his life, type stuff. And this
well, all right.
This guy directly after that was like, I never looked at it that way. And I was like, yeah, there are a lot of, like male artists that will get up and talk a woman's head into thinking all kinds of things about him. And that's not really who he is. And he was like, we had this whole conversation about like men and the lies that they tell to get women to like them and stuff like that. So I've had a lot of great conversations with men about a lot of my poetry. Like I wrote a piece about my mom and about how hard our relationship is, and I've had a lot of guys come up to me and say, "Oh, that poem really touched me because I felt that way before." So I'm just to know that it also, reaches men. I'm just like, "Ooh, thank God," because I don't want it to not fall on deaf ears, but I don't want it to miss you guys, because although I am writing from my perspective, and a lot of my poetry is to help women get through relationships with other people and with themselves, I don't want men to feel excluded from the things that I have to say. You know what I mean? Like I definitely wanted to be like a general feeling, but also from my perspective.
And on the flip side of that coin, right? Because we all get the random, let's shoot our shots to the poet.
Yes.
How is your deflection skill when it comes to the, oh my God, I just, what I'm saying? Let me put it in. I'm talking like I just want to say, what I'm saying, that you were just a wonderful poet and everything. I'm saying, because some things that you were saying like really stood out. And I was
Curry for three.
I'm saying, if you ever had some time to just just meet up. We could just, because I just started out writing. I just wanted to
and I like how you rounded it out with the because I just started out writing. Here's my thing. Because I'm down to collab, I'm down to build, I'm down to heal, down to create, all of that stuff. But I'm real picky. Not only am I real picky, I can like spot BS a mile away. So it's just like, I know if you genuinely want to create with me, and if you're just trying to, get close and I'm just like, I don't know what you think I can offer you, or what it is that you feel like you're gonna really get out of this other than a really dope poem. But like,
sometime we're lucky.
That's really weird, because like I'm a regular individual, and I realized though,
regular is in. For those who don't know, regular and weird are in.
I'm like, I'm really a weirdo, and I feel like I'm a hot spicy mess, and I'm from Northeast DC, and I'm just a regular small town girl, you know what I'm saying, just trying to make a little noise. And when people reach out to me and like want to connect, I don't always deflect. I'm always down to like create. I talk to people until they give me a reason not to. Then once I realize that that's not you've given me a reason not to talk to you, I'm very polite. I'm very sweet. I'm like, no, not at this time. I don't feel comfortable with that. Or no, thank you. Maybe we can do it another way. Or all kinds of stuff. Like, but I'm very polite always. I'm never rude. I don't cuss at people. That's not something I do. So it's just, but it is always like, I'm always taken aback when someone wants to like create or wants to like take it further than like.
They hit you with the Sherman Club. I just want to say that your poem was absolutely wonderful.
And I just be like, and I always appreciate accolades, because when people like my work, I really, really appreciate that, because I'm like, look, y'all, these is my real feelings. Like, my poems are actual prayers to God. Like, I really be at home going through a lot to put this on paper. So the fact that y'all like this, I really, really, from the bottom of my being, appreciate that. But once it starts getting on that finicky stuff, and I feel like you trying to do a little more than write poetry with me, then we got a problem. Not to mention I got a man, so it's like,
definitely. You gotta make sure that's
we can't have them kinds.
Gotta hit the Wakanda.
We can't have them kind of problems. Like, we can't have those kinds of issues. It's just unnecessary drama in my young life.
You feel any pressure to be a good poet?
Do I feel pressure to be a good poet?
Especially in the circle that you're in. Like, let's just call it what it is. Like,
Because to be honest with you, yes. First of all, the two of you. First of all, the wordplay right here at the table.
Questions here.
Like, that's enough. First of all, the wordplay right here is enough, right? And then we got to think about Orville and Karika and just me.
They don't play fair.
Not at all. They don't play fair at all. And then when you think about like crowd control and like the stories they tell, or like how when y'all perform or whatever, and it's just like one literal, but it's all the same situation, but it's like told in two different, like it's,
you know.
So yes, to answer your question, yes, I do.
How do you keep it? Go ahead.
No, you got it. Because I'm just thinking like, because if we are like this Avengers type crew.
That's how I feel.
You know what I'm saying? And if we was just like in this era, she's like the first lady of the crew. And we're all great supporters of each other, but you see Lucky really like, that's what I'm talking about. She would throw like a shoe, take off her scarf, just throw it up there, you know what I'm saying?
I sure will.
And it's just like,
I'm loud all the time.
And it's,
I'll be in everybody's videos.
Crazy. Because then when she hops up there, you do not expect her to go off, right? And she goes off, and we try to keep cool, like, yo, it was hot. But sometimes we be the same way, like, yes!
Don't like that. Yes! I was just thinking about, like, I do commend you because you give like great support. Like you are
Man,
like
what?
Yeah, you
greatest.
Lucky gonna have your back when you go up there.
Right.
Yeah, like,
nobody
else
gonna have your back.
Clap and snap for you. I'm gonna be right here. Right here.
That's my favorite one.
That's the line right there. As soon as you start the poem, I already know what it is. So I'm like, yes, this. Come on, we ready.
Right, because
then I hit you around like, oh, okay, yeah.
The cookout.
Oh yeah, the cookout. Shout out past the Q.
Past the Q in the cookout.
The cookout. I mean, O was on it tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
we gotta call O because that's gonna be we gonna want some feedback from O.
We sure is.
After going to the cookout, because I'm still waiting on my plate. But needless to say, we had a good time.
Yeah.
How do you keep your personal style then? I mean, so
that uniqueness,
that unique style that you bring to the table. How do you maintain that, being that you're around? So I mean, like, do you? Yeah. I know you take notes and everything.
Yeah,
you know.
I'm definitely always a student of the game. Like, I feel like I pay so much attention to literally everything. But as far as keeping it original, I only write it if I've been through it. I only write it if it literally affected me.
That's right.
Like my poetry, like I said, is meant to help women get through relationships with other people and themselves. Because I'm helping myself get through a relationship with myself and with other people. So I think I got a burp.
That's groovy.
That was crazy. But
this
anyways,
cut. Porn like podcast.
But definitely like
sounded excellent.
It would have been crazy. That would have been so crazy. But yeah, like definitely I'm helping myself get through a relationship with myself and with the people around me. So when it comes to the things I write, it's true to that specific situation. It's true to, like I said, these are my actual feelings, actual prayers to God. Like, I've actually had this conversation with God, and now I'm having it with him in front of you type stuff. So I just try to make sure that, and if I'm not feeling it, I walk away.
Yeah.
So were you ever afraid to, distribute a certain piece because it was so close and so like vivid to your situation? Because like you said, you write things that you go through. Were you ever like scared to be like, nah, I can't share this with the people? I'm gonna
I got
keep that for the
2 poems like that right now. The first one's about my mom, and I did it for the first time this year. Because I was like, only way, I already know the only way I'm going to be able to move through this situation into healing is to talk about it. And the only way I'm going to be able to talk about it is if I write it down and do it in front of a poem, in front of people. So it took me forever to do it. And up until the day of the performance, I had the jitters. I was like, oh, I can't do this. I had the whole set planned out. And I'm like, I really can't. I don't know how to say these things in front of people. Been practicing all day, though. You know what I'm saying? I've been saying the poem all day, but it's just like, I can't I felt like I was facing her, but felt like I was having that conversation for the very first time. So it was like, I can't do it. I don't know what to say, how to say it. Like, it's gonna come out mad weird, but I literally did it. I cried, and then it was just like, all right, we got the first one out the way, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Now we ready. We can do this now. I have another poem like that, and shout out to my CD for 2019. It'll be the first track on the CD. Like, I'm not gonna do it
with the merch on
deck. yeah.
Lucky's Place album coming out.
Yeah.
It's a Poor Life podcast for those just checking in. I'm J. Rod D.
And I'm G.
And we have.
I'm Lucky, guys. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate y'all paying attention to me.
We gonna switch it up real quick. So we're gonna do our little sway in the morning situation.
Ooh.
Now we have a challenge for you on the table. Every guest that comes to the show, they have to give a little piece of what they do. Now, they talked it up. We got to hear your perspective on it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a little snip.
Just a little bit.
What do you have for us tonight?
What did you have for us tonight? Let me get my ears.
Go ahead and take my glasses off so I can hear this better.
Alright, so it is super new.
Okay.
New.
Something new. Okay.
New stuff.
Exclusive on the Poor Life podcast.
It's called Delicate Flower.
All right.
So y'all know my Organically Beautiful piece?
Yeah.
That is like my favorite poem.
Man, what?
Right? It's like my favorite poem. So I wrote this part 2, right? It's called Delicate Flower, and it is inspired by all of the queens that I know and that have like directly and indirectly inspired me to be a better woman. Like y'all know who y'all are. I be hitting y'all DMs all the time, letting y'all know. But so this is the piece.
All right, bet let's get it.
I could just start whenever.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever. We here.
Be careful with her. Delicate dark flower, she shines different. Blooms in adversity. Defining her power and passion, knowing she was put here purposefully, manifesting her magic, making miracles out of molehills, climbing out of the dirt. She shines different. Her growth is necessary, needed to be nurtured and tended to, no stone left unturned. She blooms in adversity. Through concrete she climbs, carrying hundreds of years of history. She shines different. Many questions will be asked, and eyes will roll as she walks past, but ask yourself, how many times has Beyonce competed with anyone but herself? The opinions of the masses don't matter when your information is slaying stages, all the while causing glass ceilings to shatter. She shines different. She shines different. Blooms in adversity. See, she knows her sassiness will offend you, but continues to hold her head high. She knows you can't win if you ain't right within. Knows that the respect for her crown is to be demanded and not suggested. Required and not requested. See, you gonna learn today cause she ain't want to be tested. For Wakanda, without question, cause she be queen. Fierce and peaceful. Got enough to feed the family and liberate the people, but be careful. For she still be soft and gentle. See, the strong get weak too, but she knows their strength and her vulnerability, so she heals with you cause she be healer. Pick up broken pieces and mend broken hearts. There's light inside her heart cause she shines different. Grinds different. When you're chilling in her presence, it's like time don't exist, just pure bliss. To your left or your right is a queen in your midst.
Woo!
Hey, okay, for those who just inebriation of words is real.
That was exclusive.
Because my mind was sober.
Sheesh.
Prior to
luck.
Man.
Yeah, look, I see your edge.
We need to take a recess or something.
Okay.
My asthma can't take that. I was trying to control my
I
breathing.
heard it here first, man. How you want to do this? You want to do women real quick? You want to take them back?
Ooh.
I'm ready.
He said.
Let's do it.
You do it? All right, cool. Here we go.
You got it?
Now, yeah. That's all anyway.
Okay, cool.
All right. Original woman. Your position is critical, pivotal, essential like these vitamins and these here minerals C. Without you, there's no nation or no civilization. Your different cycles are teaching me this patience. Now, I may not understand your moves, but I love you at every spot and blemish, like how you always check the mirror like you forgot your image. See, cowards applaud the imitation, yet they boo at the real thing. However, you're the truth, most deaf. I know y'all seen, babe. But misogyny is massaging me the wrong way. Arguably, the right view of you has gone astray. Now I know that it's true that I can't live with or without you, because sometimes you could be a trip. Traveling every square inch of this 196,940,000 square miles of this sphere we call here. See, land, sea, and air, that's skin, breath, and tears. Many may not understand your worth, but it's clear.
I see you sitting there, And all that comes to mind is what a wonderful job God did when he made you. There is rhythm in your stride. I've never danced with God's angels before, but somehow, someway, when we touch, I hear music in your hands. It's like a symphony in your skin, and I want to be held captive to it. You may not understand this, but my immaturities are loosened like the shackles are freed slaves whenever I'm around you. I don't know what it is, and I've never felt this way before, but if you grant me this opportunity, I will adore you until our spectators reference us when they speak of love in the 21st century. See, you humbled me. I used to wear my pride alongside my stubbornness, and then you wooed me. Lured the canvas of my heart and mind and painted the shade of your natural lips. You are ideal to mankind. I had to catch myself from free falling through thoughts of you. You see, it is as if the stars disappeared from the sky and found their home deep inside your eyes. How do I know that you're not just another image of my prayers that turned into sand after evening slumber? How do I know that you even exist? With all the wrong that I've done in my life, how can I assume that the pursuit of your lips doesn't leave me poisoned just like Adam after the apple? My lady, I don't think you quite understand how I spent over 10,444 days worth of 28 years trying to find you. There is a fossil of your crown buried deep inside my heart, and you need to claim it. Accept me. Accept me, and I will extend to you the greatest 14-karat compliment known to mankind by bended bruised knee, as long as you say yes.
Check this out, man. I'm JYD.
And I'm G.
You checking out the Poor Life Podcast.
Sheesh.
We have Lucky's Place.
Hey,
I want to thank y'all for checking us out tonight. Hope you guys enjoy yourselves. Luck, tell them again where they can find you.
You can follow me on all social media at Lucky's Place. It's LUKISPLACE. That's LUKISPLACE.
You have any upcoming events they want to know about?
On Sunday at the Stew, Dope DC Creates and Whiskey in the City. Shout out to them. I love you guys so much.
Shout out to Whiskey.
They are having an event. You can follow them on all social media for the details.
All right, better sound like a bet, man. How you feeling, G?
Pretty darn groovy.
Had to brush the dust
Turn
off.
to dust.
Oh my God.
You checking the Poor Life Podcast. Thanks again. Have a